Welcome to Physicians Keepers. Each episode features honest conversations with physicians, sharing moments that shaped them, challenged them, or taught them something worth passing on. These stories come from every corner of a physician's life: the clinic, OR, family, finances, mental health, leadership, and personal growth. If a story can help another doctor feel seen or strengthened, it belongs here. It's about honesty, courage, and community true storytelling. If you are looking for connection or a reminder that you are not alone in navigating this profession, you are in the right place. Hello and welcome to another episode of Physicians Keepers. I am so excited to have you here today, wherever you're listening. If you're listening up there, the podcast, or you're watching on YouTube, thank you so much for joining me today. So today I have with me Dr. Janeeka Benoit, and thank you so much, Dr. Janeeka, for being here today. And we are going to have a very wholesome and interesting conversation, and I appreciate her being the guest today on Physicians Keepers. So I'm just going to go ahead and read Dr. Janeeka's bio, and she's going to dive full head on with her story. So Dr. Janeeka, she helps high-achieving women who feel frustrated by their body finally understand what it needs. She is a board-certified internal medicine and sports medicine physician and founder of In-Vessel Health and Wellness. Her mission became personal when she gained 18 pounds despite staying active and seeing her cholesterol rise for the first time. She wasn't lacking discipline. Her metabolism needed a different strategy. Now, Dr. J helps driven women stop fighting their bodies and start working with their metabolism. Through mindset, science, and lifestyle medicine, she helps women build sustainable energy, metabolic health, and strength that supports their purpose and legacy. So thank you, Dr. Janeeka. Appreciate it. That's an amazing work that you are doing there. Thank you for coming in today.
Yes, thank you so much for having me.
Now, based on your bio, we're going to kind of delving into how you got here, with what you're doing. So this sounds like it started as a very personal journey for you. What has your own experience with weight gain and exercise? Like, kind of walk us through that, how that impacted you so much that you decided that I need to do something about this and help other people.
Yes. And so my journey actually started way before that. And it started as a child. And as a child, I had obesity. And so I remember like before the 8th grade, I decided that I was going to like get really fit and just like change my body. Because prior to that, we were speaking about bullying earlier, but, I was also bullied as a young child because of my weight. And I just got tired of that. And, being that type A person that I am, I was like, I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to figure out how to get fit and lose this weight. And this was like around the age of 12 or 13. And so I, managed my portion sizes, and I don't even know how I like figured this out, but like, I remember like, my family comes from a family, we eat a lot of rice. And so I was like, okay, let me cut my rice portion down. And then I started, being more active in sports. And so I remember coming back to the 8th grade and like my classmates did not recognize who I was. They're like, oh my gosh, is this Janeeka? And I'm like, yeah, I am. And like, I completely changed my body. And so after that, I really developed a love for just like health and fitness because it helped me with my confidence, right? I, felt really strong. I felt that I was like revitalized because I had all this energy that I was able to put into my workouts. The food that I was eating, I was very intentional about the foods that I was eating, and I recognized that made a difference in how I felt. And so that really began my journey in health and fitness. And then as I, got older, I continued that. and I even became a personal trainer. So I became a personal trainer, and I helped other people get fit. And at the same time, I was studying for my MCATs,
Yeah.
and I got into medical school, and I was on the board of the sports medicine club during medical school. And I decided to go into internal medicine. And then after internal medicine, I did a sports medicine fellowship. And then after so during sports medicine fellowship, I actually couldn't find a job. So I became a travel doctor, and I went into small rural areas and did primary care and sports medicine, because a lot of those rural areas did not have sports medicine doctors, or
Yeah.
they may have had orthopedic surgery, but it would take months for them to get into to see an orthopedic surgeon. So I provided primary and
Yeah.
sports medicine care. And then, I did that for a while, but then I noticed, like, around my mid 30s, I realized my body started to change. And I was pretty much like very active, right? I was like working out 6 days a week. I was mindful of my eating. I mean, it was what I was accustomed to doing,
Yes.
not major changes in my eating habits or activity. But I noticed that like my clothes were not fitting the same way. And then when I went to my primary care doctor, my LDL cholesterol was like the highest it's ever been. And so that alarmed me, because I do have family history of cardiovascular disease. And, just being a doctor, knowing that, I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, like I need to do something really fast. And, that's exactly, what I did. I don't want to spoil all the beans in case you have other questions, but that is essentially like my story. So my telehealth practice, in Vessel Health and Wellness, and Vessel stands for Invest in Vessel, was born out of my own story, just trying to understand my own body, even as a doctor, trying to figure out, okay, like what is happening? Like no one told me my body was going to change like this,
Yeah.
especially when you've been living in your body for years and you're recognizing all these changes. It feels uncomfortable, and to not understand what's going on, even as a doctor, I can only imagine how other women could feel. And so
Yeah.
that is why I created my telehealth practice, to help other women along their journey.
That's amazing. And I actually did wonder at that combination, because when I saw internal medicine and sports medicine, I'm like, okay, there are not a lot of internal medicine docs that do sports medicine, right? Because you would see family medicine docs who do sports medicine, or ortho, right? And so
Right.
just based on your training, one would have put you in that category. You may have gone to ortho or something that more physical and demanding, but then internal medicine and sports medicine, like I said, is not a common combination that you typically would see. But I guess it was just your love for fitness that made you like sports medicine is definitely an area that you could show your knowledge, share your knowledge, your skills, especially when it comes to movement. So that's you're one of a kind in that aspect. Because like I said, I don't think I have. What was that your experience? Were there a lot of internal medicine docs who went into
No,
sports?
and that was a journey in itself, because I did not know a lot of people who went to sports medicine from internal medicine residency. But I really, I'm a detail oriented person. Like I'm like in the details, and so I really enjoyed internal medicine. I mean, at the same time, I really enjoyed fitness, and so I was like, listen, I have my cake and eat it too. I'll do both.
That is awesome. That's us. Thank you for sharing your journey with us. Now, regarding now where you are in helping women, it's one of those things where, from a physician standpoint, from a coaching standpoint, and based on even your experience as a child, a lot of our identity is tied to our weight. Right? We tend to see ourselves through that lens. Um, why is that though, especially for women? Like, why do we a lot of times tie our identity to what we see on the scale?
Yeah. So I honestly think a lot of our conceptions about our weight, I think stems from childhood, right? Because that is the stage of our life where we're most impressionable. We may have heard comments about our weight either from family members or even friends, during school. Those are our formative years that we're like, trying to develop our thoughts around certain ideas. And so I think a lot of that gets ingrained from childhood. I know for me, a lot of that was ingrained during childhood. And so a lot of that gets formed during those years. And I think the hard part is as you get older, learning how to disconnect from that identity and form a new identity. And that is a lot of my work with the women that I work with, because we already come in with this identity that we've created from our weight that has been created in the past or what we've seen. And now we're at a point where our bodies are changing, and the body that we've had before is not the body that we know now. And so you are figuring a whole lot of things out. You're thinking about, okay, well, this was my weight before, and I made that mean something, right? I made
Yeah.
that if I was smaller, I had a smaller waist, much tone arms. I made that mean something about myself. And now that my body is shifting, either that I'm noticing more fat around my midsection, or I'm recognizing that I'm less toned than I was before, I'm making that mean something too. And so there you have a whole like identity shift that you have to now make given this new version of yourself. And a lot of us want to hold tight to that old identity, right? Of like who we were when we had this former weight. But we have to get to a point where this is a whole different woman, okay? This is a whole different woman. And we are able to reinvent ourselves, as women. Like, we are so multifaceted. We are career women, we're entrepreneurs, we're moms, wives, sisters, aunties, cousins, right? We are so multifaceted. And, the beauty about women, like, even if you want kids or don't want kids, we have like the innate ability to nurture, right?
Yeah.
And with that, we can nurture this new identity, this new version of ourselves that we have in front of ourselves now. And so the hardest part is trying to create this new woman and discover who she is in this new body, in this
Yeah.
new weight, because we have created a version of ourselves since we were children that has been ingrained literally into our DNA. And we have to learn how to part with that once we get older and we recognize that we are going through shifts
Yeah.
within our body.
So that's awesome. Like you said, the mindset shift, right? It's a big struggle with that because we get so used to the leaner version, right? The more fit versions of ourselves, right?
Mhm.
We hang on to the clothes that that were fit 10 years ago.
Right.
We still see ourselves in those. It's like one day, I'll
I'm
get
with
there.
that.
Like that version of me still waiting, but
Hmm.
that version of you may have gone. The
Hmm.
body may not be as toned as it was 10 years ago, but
Hmm.
it takes a lot from a mindset standpoint to be able to, okay, what is my new identity? Like, how can I make the best version of this self that I'm in. It's not, I can't go back, but I'm here now. How can I improve on this? So from a mindset standpoint, your program, what have you seen in terms of women who you've coached? Like, is it something that's pretty easy to do, or does it take quite a lot of mindset shift to do that?
Yeah. And so I think it depends on, that the woman. And so with my practice, it's it's hybrid, right? So it's clinical medicine, but then I do incorporate the mindset part of it because I do believe that is important as well, especially as we're going through these changes in our body during perimenopause, menopause. And so I would say for the women that I attract, they're like high achieving women. And they want to understand, right? They really want to understand, and they are very intentional. And I help, and I also help assist with the intentionality because sometimes it's just like, I just want to do the thing. Like, tell me what to eat.
Yeah.
Do I need to be on a GLP-1? Like, what exercises should I do? Sometimes they just want to get to the thing. And sometimes I have to be like, okay, let's just pause. Like, where are we now? Right? Just so I can understand from a mindset perspective, like, are they jumping the gun? Like, do they just want to rush and get to the result? Or are they really thinking this through? Because I'm the physician where, yes, I will provide you with the plan, but also I want you to be in a place where you can learn how to get there yourself, right? Because sometimes we get so like in the weeds where like, oh, I have to like eat this amount and this amount, and it has to be like, I have to work out this amount of days a week, and oh, I can't have this dessert,
Yeah.
or I can't have that, and it's just like I can't, and I don't like believe in that. I don't believe
Yeah.
that we should restrict ourselves. I don't believe that, oh, like you should not have dessert when you're at a restaurant. Like, I don't believe in that. I'm more of the belief where when you understand how to nourish your body, like really nourish your
Yeah.
body. Like, you are feeding it with food that is nourishing to your body. You're feeding it with food that's going to stabilize your blood sugar so that you don't end up with crashes up and down. You are feeding it with macronutrients that's going to help you build and maintain muscle. You're feeding it with micronutrients, with vitamins and minerals that's going to assist with your health journey.
Yeah.
Then you're able to understand like what your body needs. And that's what I hear from my patients and my clients, because they're like, oh, I went to a restaurant and I ate the dessert, but actually I only had 2 bites and I was content. Like, I didn't need to eat the whole thing because I started with my protein first, and I made sure that I got my protein in, and I decided how much of this, carbohydrate I
Yeah.
was going to have. And so I was content. And so even though I wanted the dessert, I didn't need to have it all. And I was able to enjoy my meal. Like, that's how it should feel like, right? It shouldn't be like, oh, I'm going to dessert and I'm not going to have this. I'm going to just deny all myself.
Yeah.
Can we learn to enjoy the process without feeling that we are restricting ourselves?
That sounds like a really good strategy right there that you've drafted, or I mean, the journey with that. Because it's not just I'm here, fix me type thing. Like, that's not how it works with this, because I'm sure even after they work with you, you want them to be able to sustain that journey or whatever they learned through the process with you. So that sounds like a really great strategy. Thank you, Dr. Jay, for sharing that with us. Now, what do you see, just based on your experience, what are the common mistakes that women of this age, like, what are common mistakes that they make when they're trying to lose weight?
Yes. So number one, they will expect their results to look like another woman's results. And the thing is, like, we all have different medical history that affects how our bodies interact with food. So, for example, if you're a person with prediabetes or you're a woman who has PCOS, right, you have some degree of insulin resistance. And so the types of carbohydrates that you choose are going to be very, very important. And so that type of person is going to eat differently and choose more lower glycemic carbohydrates than someone without a degree without history of insulin resistance. It's the same thing with cardiovascular disease. If someone has like a first degree relative with cardiovascular disease and they have elevated cholesterol, elevated LDL, and an elevated apolipoprotein A and B, that person is going to be more mindful of, let's say, their cholesterol intake. And they may be on a statin, and that may also affect their muscle as well. So these are all these things we have to take into consideration. It's just like where are they starting from? And everybody's start is different. And so it's important to recognize that our starting point is different from the next one's starting point. And because our starting points are different, we are going to, like, the way that we interact with food is going to be different than the next woman interacts with food. There are some women who are able to get to their goal weight, without a GLP-1. There are people who just need more assistance and may require a GLP-1, and there's no shame in that. It's not a fact that they have failed. It's just that they have a different starting point, and it's not a point of judging that. Is just observing that this is just what it is, right? There's nothing wrong. You haven't failed because you need medication. But this is your starting point, and this is your body. And it's important to understand, like, our body, right? I emphasize that point so much, is like, we have to learn how to understand our bodies, because, as women, sometimes we get into the comparison mode, right? Like, we will compare, like, our hair to her hair, like, legs to
All day,
legs,
every day.
everything. Like, oh, I wish I had your hair. Oh, I wish I had your legs. Oh, I wish I had this, right?
Yeah.
It's so easy. We just get into comparison mode. But it's important to recognize, our starting point. It's important to recognize our body, like, its capability, its capacity, and not compare our bodies to somebody else's body, because it's just because another woman has a result doesn't mean that you're going to get the same exact results. You're going to get the results in a way that works for your body, and that woman gets the results that works for her body, right? And so I think that is a common mistake that women make, is just expecting, oh, well, she did this, like, she did the keto diet, so I want to try the keto diet, or, like, it's just, yeah, that may not work for you. I mean, especially if you have elevated cholesterol, I would recommend not to do the keto diet.
Not the keto. Not keto, because it's going to come back and it's sky high.
Right,
and
exactly.
Yes, you may lose the weight, you may be lean, but then, yes, your insides are all clogged up. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And so I think, a common mistake is just comparing our bodies or our results to the next woman's.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that. And one of the things you did highlight was kind of leading into my other question is, how do you help your patients to find success, right, in terms of their weight journey? Because for some people, success is, oh, I can finally fit into that dress, or my stomach doesn't have that look anymore, or how do you help them define their success that is tailored to them based on their weight journey?
Oh, I love this question. Okay, so first I explain, listen, there's different measurements of progress. They're subjective and they're objective, right? And at first, I like to focus on the subjective. And it's actually pretty easy to do, because as soon as I start working with them, they're like, ooh, I'm looking at food differently. Ooh, like I'm noticing like, my jeans are starting to, have a little space that I didn't have before. Or ooh, I'm recognizing that I didn't have to eat that whole meal. Like, and I didn't even need to hold it. I didn't even need to eat the whole meal, right? That's progress. And sometimes, like, if you're not working with a physician, it could be easy to minimize, because it could be just because sometimes we just want to get to the objective data. Like, what does the scale say?
They'll say,
Like, what does the number say? Can I fit in those jeans that I have had in my closet for 10 years? Let me see. And so just awareness, like that is like the first marker of progress, right? It's just being aware that, oh, okay, my relationship with food is changing. Even just noticing that the little give in your genes, like that is progress. Recognizing that you are having less cravings, because that's big too. Because
yes,
especially with my ladies, they are doers, they are movers, and they are shakers. And they will go through the day and work, 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 and not eat. And then at the end of the day, they are eating out of convenience.
yeah,
And so to be able to develop a routine where you are sustaining yourself throughout the day so you don't have those cravings at the end of the day, that is huge. Right. And so I would say those subjective markers of progress is huge. The objective data. Now, what I look at is I evaluate their body composition. If
yeah,
I don't require all of my patients to get a bioelectric impedance
yeah.
scan, but for those that do, I think that it's great to evaluate the objective data and see how that correlates with what they're experiencing subjectively. And so initially, when we start, I have them do a body composition report. So they check their body composition. I receive the result report. I go over with them. I explain what everything means. I explain, okay, well, you have this percentage of muscle mass, you have this amount of body fat. Like, what does that mean? And what their goal would be, right? And so if this is a woman who wants to lose fat, I said, well, at first, your goal is to equalize your body fat and your muscle mass. And then the overall goal is to have your muscle mass be greater than your body fat. And then I also look at visceral fat, making sure that number is within normal, less than 10%. And so and I'm looking all that, I'm evaluating that. That also helps me to see if there's any evidence of like insulin resistance. I'm also looking that along with their labs as well, just assessing their labs to see are there markers of insulin resistance, is there any elevation of elevated cholesterol. Also even, prior to them coming to me, talking about their intake of their history, right? Because history also plays a part of it. And so I'm, looking at all of that objective data, and then reassessing every month with the body composition report. And then
Oh,
if there's anything, like let's say their A1C was elevated, then, rechecking their A1C after 3 months to see if that has, changed as well. So those are the
subjective.
elements of progress, yeah, subjective and objective data that I look at.
That sounds like a really good setup, in terms of how you are approaching this, right? Just kind of from different angles. And you did mention, that a lot of your patients are high achieving women. Why is it though, that a lot of times high achieving women, they struggle to prioritize their health, right? So there's the chasing the job, the family and all that. And for sometimes the health seems to be put at the back burner. Like, how do you get them to so, okay, look, I have to be the best version of myself to help others because that's always a struggle. We always tend to put other things first and we tend to measure success in other areas, as opposed to looking and see how well we are doing.
Yes. So by the time they come to me, they have recognized that there is a problem and they need help, right? So they realize, okay, I need to talk to a doctor who understands this. I need help. And so when they come to me, that's one of the areas that we go through. We talk about prioritization, right? And they have all these ideas of what they want to do, but they're not doing it, right?
Yeah.
And so then I get into, okay, well, why are you not able to, wake up early and get your workout in? Oh, that's because I am up at night doing work. Okay, well then why are you up so late doing work? Oh, that's because it's hard for me to say no and I have to keep on, accepting these tasks from my boss, even though I know that I'm overwhelmed and I don't have time to do it. So really now the work becomes setting boundaries, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And you see,
Absolutely.
so we have to peel the onion to see, okay, yes, you really want to prioritize your health. And because they come to me like, I just don't know why. Like, I don't like, I know I have to do it, but I just can't. Like, I'm just so busy. And then when I peel the onion, I'm like, oh, it's because there may be a boundary
Yes.
problem, right? And so we have to learn how to set boundaries around our work and to ensure that we are able to prioritize ourselves. Or it could be a delegation problem. It could be something that they don't need to do, but they could delegate it to somebody else. So if you have to pick your cousin up, somebody else pick them up? Or you could just say no. You know what I mean? And so it's usually, sometimes I see there's a boundary problem, delegation problem, and people pleasing sometimes comes in the way where they want to be liked, and so they say yes to all these things that deep down inside they know they want to say no to. Right. So I see that come into play. And so there are all these different aspects of of us that come into play, and that becomes a barrier to us prioritizing our health. And so by the time they come to me, they know that there's a problem, but they're not able to really pinpoint and identify what the problem is. So we started to peel the onion, and we're saying now we're working with okay, boundaries. So how do I set a boundary, right? And it's like, if you've never set a boundary before, it's going to be hard for you to do it, right? And so it's learning how to put in the reps and saying politely, listen, I wish I could do this task for you tonight, but I did not allocate time for this in my schedule. So next time, if you need a task to be done, if it's between these hours, then I can get it done. But if it's after 6 p.m., I won't be able to do that, right? And so it doesn't have to be mean, but it's letting people know that, okay, well, this is the time when I finish my work, and that is the time that I finish my work. And after that, that person is able to, have the time to get time to sleep and be able to wake up early to, get into their
Exercise.
morning routine and exercise and, make their breakfast. And so I find, people pleasing, setting boundaries, not being able to delegate are some of the reasons why it's hard for high achieving women to make their health a priority.
Well, I'm so glad, like I said, for the help that you're giving your clients. And you've mentioned so many important things, and just having to give them that focus, right? And it sounds like your program, like I said, just really an awesome structure with that. Now, where you're functioning right now, you're also an entrepreneur, right? Because now you have this whole business. Was that something that you were really skilled at? Did you just have all this skills where okay, I can set this up? I can, did that come naturally to you being a personal trainer, or setting up your business or getting into that entrepreneur mindset? Was it a struggle for you?
Oh my gosh, it was such a struggle for me because I'm dealing with two identities. I'm dealing with being a doctor, a physician, and then
Yeah.
I'm dealing with an entrepreneur. And those are two different types of people. Right. And so I'm used to, like, as a physician, I'm used to, just doing my work, seeing the patients, and that's it.
Yeah.
As a business owner, I have to market my business. I have to tell people what I do. I have to like
Yeah.
talk about my services. I have to explain the value of what I offer, right? Learning how to articulate that, even learning how to articulate to a specific demographic of people. Like I said, my patients, they are high achieving women. And so the way that I speak in my marketing is different than if I was, talking to somebody else, right? Because
Yeah.
I know my high achieving ladies, they want to, go, 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 go. And I know they want a different experience too,
Yeah.
right? And so the way that I have my like even the structure of it, it's designed for, a busy professional or like a busy entrepreneur. Like my EMR is also accessible through an app, right? Like I intentionally thought this through, right?
Yeah.
And initially, when I start working with a patient or client, I have a tracker, a food tracker built in just for like the first week. I do an audit with all my patients or clients. And so for that first week, I do an audit, but it has a built-in food tracker where they can track their food and then we discuss and I explain what all of this means. And then I provide their nutritional strategy from there. They're able to directly message me through the app. I'm able to upload resources, right? So I have resources that I've created. I have exercises that I provide that I'm able to like provide in this app that they're able to see on their phone, right? Because I know like these are busy ladies, they may be on the go. And so they're able to have access to this, anytime, and it makes it very easy. We don't have to deal with, calling the front desk and people not picking up, right? I make it very seamless because I understand my target audience, right? I know what type of experience they want. I know that they are very thorough and they want to understand the details and that's just kind of who I am by nature. And so it works, And so that's why, I do focus on the mindset piece as well, because I do think that that is, to blend mindset plus clinical medicine to provide a comprehensive practice for this specific type of woman. And so it was very hard, to say the least. It took a lot of time to like really think through. Like I said, this practice was also like stemmed from me. So I had to think about, okay, what would I want in a doctor? Like, cause I'm a high achieving woman. Like I'm like, listen, the same culture principles and,
Yeah.
and the way that the practice, I had to do that for myself.
Yeah.
And so it was really difficult because I had to think about, okay, like how do I communicate? Because people find me by like they by what I say, right?
Yeah.
And so I have to be
Yeah.
very intentional of my words and how I communicate my services. And so it's very interesting though, when I meet women, they were like, I know you have what I need. And I was like, well, how do you know? Well, because of what you said in your marketing. And so that is something I have to practice.
Yeah.
I have to continually practice like what I say, how I say it, and the manner that which I say it, because it's a very specific type of woman that I'm speaking to. And
Yeah.
when I speak, she knows that I'm talking to her, right? And so I have to, that is very intentional. In, and with all that, it was very difficult.
The app, the,
It's
the app you mentioned, is that you created an app for your
Oh no,
business,
it's
like.
not. I did not create the app. I did not. I
Okay.
did not create the app. But when I was looking for an EMR, I was looking for an EMR that was that was different, that had all the things that I wanted. And so when I was looking for an EMR, I was very specific in what I was looking for. And
What will provide the
I was,
best for you?
yes. And
Yeah.
I was testing EMRs out. Like I was having calls with, the sales teams and all this
Yeah.
stuff. And because I was very specific in what I wanted, because I know my ladies, they're very
Yeah.
specific too. And I am too. And I want to make sure that my delivery is, tailored. And so yes, it takes a lot of intentionality. I think with being a doctor, it's like you see patients and that's it. But when you're an entrepreneur, you are developing skills, right? And so you want to think like, oh yeah, I'm a doctor and that's it. Like I did the years of medical school and that's it. Yeah, like that should be enough. No, it's not. When you're an entrepreneur,
Mhm.
when you have a business, that's not enough. You have to go to the school of business. It's a
Yeah.
whole other school, and that school, med school, has an end. The school of business, it never ends. It's ongoing because you are going to evolve as
Yeah.
a business owner, as an entrepreneur. It is a journey. It is not a destination.
Oh wow. Now, was there any resource you used like during when you were trying to evolve, or was it
Oh
just
my gosh,
something?
yes. Yes, yes, yes. So, you know what? I would say, but since I was in residency, I had a feeling that I was going to doctor differently. And so I'll tell you all the people. I'm not going to gatekeep. So, when I was a resident, I invested in business coaching. I didn't even have a business, but I was like, at this rate, the way medicine's going, I cannot see myself seeing patients until I'm 60. Like there has to be a different way. Like I'm trying to live my life, at the same time. And I also want to still love what I do,
Yeah.
because I saw a lot of my attendings, they just look burned out. So I actually worked with this doctor called Dr. Dre, and I was the youngest in my group. I was the only non-attending. Then after that, I worked with Dr. Una. She's a phenomenal business coach.
Dr. Una fan here, so
Yes, yes. I have had the opportunity to be coached by Sunny Smith, Dr. Sunny Smith, also Dr. Kimmy as well. I had the opportunity to be coached by her. Let's see what else. Those were, yes. So those, like, I've had coaches throughout the year. I've had business coaching throughout the year to help get me where I am. Also, I've also worked with a negotiation coach as well, Dr. Linda Street. When I was, fresh out of fellowship of residency, trying to negotiate these rates as a locum tenens physician. And so I've had a lot of coaching, and it doesn't stop. I'm still in coaching, right? It doesn't stop. It never stops. Like I said, it's a journey. It's not a destination.
yeah. Yeah.
And so I have the opportunity to have been coached by many great physician coaches, that have gotten me to where I am now. And I'm so blessed to continue the journey, because if I didn't have that, I probably would have quit. But because I was coached by so many great people, I'm still going.
That is awesome. I mean, like you said, this is not education that we were exposed to. A lot of times, it's that practice of medicine where you're in medicine and you're just so focused, you want to get things done. But then, like I said, there may be other aspects, and you realize that on time. Right, that there may be other aspects of me that outside of medicine that I want to work on. I want to build a mindset around. And then you did what most people tend not to do. You invested in yourself in that aspect, because a lot of this knowledge, like I said, you don't have it. You need to get it from somewhere. Right. And so investing in yourself, surrounding yourself with people who think like you, right, who think different, who see themselves doing something outside of medicine, whether it's full-time, part-time, but then because of that, like you mentioned that you would have quit, right? If not that you had all this poured inside of you to know, okay, this is a journey, right? Sometimes it's going to be like this, right? But then if you have an intention behind it, and then you have the knowledge and the skill set that you've developed through investing in yourself, that chances are you would come to that place that kind of sounds like you're there, where you're like, this is working really great. Like, I actually enjoy every aspect of what I have to offer in medicine. So thank you so much for sharing pretty much all your resources
No problem.
with us. I'm sure that if there are physicians who are kind of like you in that space where they don't want to, traditional medicine on its own is not, doesn't give them that oomph, and there are other people who I mean, this is not to say what you're doing is for everyone, but there's some other people who are like looking as to, there's another layer, another dimension of me in this aspect, and just kind of hearing your story and how you've evolved and how you keep evolving and how you are serving with purpose, right? Based on your experience is, a joy to hear, and I'm sure that anyone listening would absolutely agree with that. Now, as going back to your earlier story, and before we round up, I just need to know the 18 pounds. How were you able to work it out where you got to your own goal weight?
Yeah, that's very, very great. So, number one, I had to I had to slowly remove my disconnection with the scale. Like I was like literally obsessed with the scale. And so like that being that type A person, I had to really sit with myself like, okay, like this number does not define you. Like your body is changing, you're in a different period of your life and your body is changing, and we're going to work with those changes, right? And so that was number one. Number two, I did a nutrition audit on what I was eating. And so I realized that at the time I had different businesses. And so during that time I had so I was functioning within two businesses, and I was just like very, very stressed out. And so during that time, those stressful periods, I would snack but not eat meals, right? And so my favorite snack was the quinoa puffs from Trader Joe's. Oh my gosh, they're so good. And so I would just snack on these quinoa puffs from Trader Joe's. That was my favorite snack. And I literally would snack on that and almonds, but I wouldn't eat. Right. And so for me, there was like, also some stress involved. My activity stayed the same. Like I was still very active. I was exercising like 5 to 6 days a week. I would run. So my activity stayed the same, but I recognized that I think the main problem was number one, my obsession with the scale, and number two, because of my stress, I was not really eating. And you could actually gain weight by not getting enough nutritional intake in. And so with that, I decided to then start with at least starting with protein in the morning, right? Because I was like, okay, if I'm going to start somewhere, let me at least start with breakfast. And then I started with, having Greek yogurt, but then, I'll have like egg whites, to at least anchor my protein in the beginning of the day. That way I know that, okay, I've gotten about 30 to 40 grams of protein in my morning. Let me build upon there. And then gradually, I started like incorporating more protein in my lunch and then dinner. And then I started incorporating, other macronutrients, like making sure that I have, fiber in my meal as well, and making sure that I have fats as well, because not just the protein, you want to make sure that, it's a well balanced
Yeah.
plate. And then making sure that I'm drinking enough water. So another thing that I incorporate is that before I had my coffee, that I drank my thermos of water before I even grabbed the coffee, right? And so that way I get in a habit of just not grabbing the coffee first, but grabbing the water first before I had my coffee. And so those are like I think the main changes for me came from my nutrition, because the physical activity was very easy for me. Like I said, my journey. I already told you all about myself. Like I've been doing this thing since I was 12, so there was not really a problem there.
Yeah.
But once I really looked at my life, I recognized that I was like very, very stressed in this period of my life, trying to figure out, okay, like what business I should focus on. I was able to then audit my nutrition, and then I was able to incorporate small changes. And then once I made those changes, the body fat started dropping, and then the muscle increased. And so I was able to really like optimize my body composition and decrease my body fat. And then I actually increased my muscle as well.
Oh wow, that sounds like an awesome, I mean, like an awesome thought out plan. And so,
Hmm.
but thank you. I was curious to know, like, how did that change happen for
Yes.
you? So thank you for
And then my
sharing that.
LDL went down too. So that went down too. So
You got a check from your doctor when you went back.
exactly.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. J, for sharing, Dr. Janeeka. It was had an amazing time just kind of hearing your story, how it evolved, and how you are serving in the capacity that you are as a physician. So your clients do have the best. I mean, in terms of you're so well rounded. Personal trainer, MD, nutrition coaching. I mean, sports medicine is like just kind of a whole package. So so thank you so much. And so if someone wants to find you or wants to connect with you, where can they do that?
Yes, I think the easiest way, I have a link that has all my links. If you just go to my Instagram, go to HEYDRJ_, and hit the link on my Instagram. It will connect you to all my other links, like my LinkedIn page, my website, my consultation call. I also have a freebie for people. It's a freebie to understand your body composition. It's a body composition guide. So feel free to take a look at that as well.
Okay, awesome. And I would put all those links in the show notes so anyone who wants to contact you can do that. But we've had an amazing time with this discussion. Thank you for being an awesome physician's keeper and for showing other doctors who, if you're an internal medicine and you didn't know that, hey, sports medicine was an option, Dr. J is an it's an awesome example of being that. And so if you're listening and you have a story and you want to come share your journey, your experience in medicine, wherever it is, be it in your entrepreneur mindset, home, family, whatever it is, just send us a message, drremlo@gmail.com, and we will be glad to hear your story. But Dr. J, thank you. And we would definitely bear in mind, and as those of us who are working in this process with our weight, just everything you've given us today has been really helpful. And those mindset shifts, we're going to definitely start working on them. So thank you.
You're so welcome.
Thank you for listening to Physicians Keepers. I hope today's conversation gave you something useful to carry into your life or practice. If it resonated, share it with another physician who might need it. And if you have a story that could help someone else, I'd love to hear from you. Connect with me on social media or send me an email. See you in the next episode.